Today I'm going to show you guys how I made these Scrunch Brazilian bikini bottoms. So my idea for the bikini bottoms is to put the two O-rings on the side here to match the top. I usually cut my straps between an inch and 1.25 inches wide. And then for the bottoms, I'm going to cut out 4 strips that are anywhere from about 22 to 25 inches long. Usually I just cut out 2 really long straps and then cut them down to the size that I want later, which is what I'm doing in this video. So now that the straps are done, it's time to cut out the pattern. In the video you see me kind of adjust the pattern, but don't worry, the pattern that you're going to print is already adjusted as needed, so you can cut out just how it is. Since I've been sewing for a while, honestly I just wing a lot of things, and this was my first time actually even making this specific style bottoms. So I'm going to cut out my front and my back piece in the main fabric, and then I'm going to cut out the same in the lining. Anytime I'm cutting out a second piece of fabric that's the same pattern, I'll use the pattern piece that I cut out instead of the pattern, because sometimes you make like little adjustments when you're cutting it and don't realize it, so it's best to just use that pattern piece so it matches exactly. The next step is to take the front of the back of the main fabric, put it right sides together and clip it at the crotch part, and you're going to do the same for the lining. Put it right sides together and clip it at the crotch part. I'm going to go ahead and sew that where I just clipped it and sew all my straps. I've been playing around with this elastic footer to see how I like it, but to be honest, I think I'm going to stick with my regular footer. Personally, I'm pretty good with adding elastic using a regular foot. Also, I'm back and forth with using elastic and not using elastic so much, so to have to feed it through the foot so much every time I want to use it is just too time consuming. I checked to see how it was looking and adjusted a few of the tensions, then did the rest of the straps as well. I then took my strap turner and turned out all the straps right side out. I had 2 really long straps, so I should have cut them in half before I did this. It would have made it easier, but I just love to make my life a little harder sometimes. So once the straps were done, I took my 2 fabrics, the main fabric and the lining, and laid them on top of each other, wrong sides together, and then I clipped all around it. If you have a fabric with a print, you want that showing on the outside, so you're gonna have that facing the outside. So I'm gonna serge down the 2 sides and add elastic. So here I switched back to my regular foot because I wasn't feeling the other one. Also, when I add elastic to bikinis, I don't like to start right at the end. I usually start about 1 inch in. That way, when I add the strap, it's not so thick and bulky, especially with this white, thicker elastic. But yeah, so here I'm just adding the elastic to the 2 sides of the bikini. To get the scrunch on the back, I'm just going to take my elastic and put it in the 2 layers of the back, and I'm going to attach it right there in the middle with a straight stitch. I left some hanging in the front, that way when I go to pull the elastic I can grip it, so that way I can give it a good scrunch. Here I'm just securing that elastic in the middle with a straight stitch. When I'm pulling the elastic, I want to make sure that I'm keeping it in the middle of the bikini. So here I'm just measuring the bikini and dividing it in half and putting a dot there with the washable marker. That way I have a guide when I'm sewing so I can keep it straight and even. So I'm using this 3-point zigzag, and these are the settings that I'm using for it. So I'm holding the elastic in the back with one hand and then stretching it with the other hand. When you're stretching anything, you want to always hold it from the back so you can help it go through your machine. I even get like a medium pull because I don't want it to scrunch up too much. The more that it scrunches, the shorter the back is going to be, so just keep that in mind. If you're doing this for the first time, you can always do this on like a scrap piece of fabric to test it out first. But again, if you just give it like a medium pull, you'll be fine. I'm just cutting off the excess elastic, and then some of the lining was hanging off the edge, so I just trimmed that so it was clean. And then I'm going to serge the ends here and add elastic. Here's the front part of the bikini, adding the elastic to the top of it. This white elastic is a little thick for the back, where I already have elastic from scrunching it. I'm just gonna cut the elastic sew over that part and then reattach it. That way it's not so much elastic in one spot and super thick. For some reason my machines really don't like this white elastic, so that's why I don't use it a lot. I usually use my clear one. Kind of messed up right there and actually didn't get through both layers, so I'm just going back over it to fix that. So now I'm going to add my straps. So I'm just trimming the end of the strap so it's clean. And then pretty much I just put it on the right side of the bikini and then fold it over like a little burrito. And then I'm going to straight stitch across it. For the front of the bikini, I'm adding O-rings, so I only need to add the straps to the back. So again, it looks like a little burrito, and then I'm just going to put it under here and do a straight stitch. I just go forward and back, forward and back. Usually I'll kind of do like a couple stitches and then I'll check to make sure that it looks good, and then if it looks good, I'll go back and sew it again just to really secure it. So I'm going to do the same for the other side, and then once they look good, I'm just going to trim off the excess right above the stitching. And now it's time to break out that cover stitch machine. I feel like nobody likes this machine, and chances are if you have it, you probably haven't touched it in like 2 years. But yes, I'm going to cover stitch around it. If you don't have a cover stitch machine, you can just do this on a regular sewing machine, but just with a zigzag stitch. Cover stitching all 4 sides of the bikini. So now it's time to finish the front with the O-rings. I'm just going to take the front corner of the bikini and fold it over the O-ring. I'm just pinning them in place here so that they're nice and even. And now I'm going to just do a straight stitch right on top of them. The next step is just to cut off the excess thread and the excess fabric. To attach the straps to the O-rings, I'm just going to fold over the strap around the O-ring and do a straight stitch across. Like I said earlier, a lot of my machines really do not like this elastic, so it was giving me a hard time. I kept getting all these knots and nests and loops, so I had to keep seam ripping and trying again and again. If I had did this with my clear elastic, or if I had just left the elastic out on part of the strap, then it would have been fine. Honestly, I was ready to throw the bikini out at this point, but I ended up making it work. Finally got it to do what I needed to do, so then I just cut off the threads, cut off the excess, and had a cute bikini. If I made this specific bikini again, I would definitely do it without the O-rings on the bottom. I just feel like the 3 O-rings wasn't as cute as I like. This is my usual go-to elastic. It's my favorite. And then this is the one that I had used for this bikini, the thicker white one. This was the final result. Still super cute. I wish I could have added the double O-ring, but still super cute and super flattering on the body. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, just comment them down below.